It's Justin Lai, the oil guy. Don't be rude, be crude.
Hey, this is Justin Lai, the old guy. Just came to my office and I saw a really great view, so I thought I'd share this with you before I started my video. Take a look here. It's a really nice area to relax here with some books. You can see the Bay Area outside here. You can see the highway, some of the mountains, and hopefully this shows up correctly in the camera. It's a really nice sunset outside. Today I wanted to discuss how does making more oil affect my life. Before I started this journey, I thought oil and gas would just, or cheaper oil prices would just lower the cost of my car gasoline and my utility bills. But I'm starting to find out it's actually a whole lot more than that. If you look at the energy industry, it is so important because that's the industry that basically powers all the other industries in humanity. If you look at all the productivity enhancements that humanity has enjoyed since the Industrial Revolution, it's either from like number one, we get comfort and time savings because machines are doing things that we don't want to do, like for example a dishwasher. And then number two is we're getting some benefit from things that are created by machines, like our houses. So if you think about it, all the productivity that we've enjoyed, with these technological advancements, it's ultimately it comes down to this really cheap and reliable workforce, this machine labor workforce. Well, what affects the price of machine labor? Well, number one is the cost of machinery, and number two is the price of energy, specifically oil and gas, which most machines in the world really run on today. What that means is that lowering the cost of energy actually makes machine labor more affordable to average people. For example, easy example is during the winter, with lower oil and gas prices, families can turn on their heaters. Right, they're more likely to turn on their heaters because they'd be able to afford it. I had environmentalists ask me, he's like, well, Justin, what about the environment? What about climate change? And you're damaging the planet. Well, first of all, this would warrant another video exploring different types of energy sources and a concept called the energy return on investment, EROI. But right now, what I can say is that to meet energy demands of humanity, we can't rely on any other source. Like no other energy source can take on the demand required of humanity. And realistically, before we can rely on other types of energy sources like wind, solar, and other renewables, we really have to do the research to increase their reliability, and we'd have to build a lot of infrastructure to make sure we can take advantage of those sources of energy. And what one question I ask is what powers the machines that make the solar panels and the windmills, right, and the dams? What are the machines that what powers the machines that create the roads and the like electric infrastructure required to bring that electricity from renewables onto cities? Well, they're all machines powered by oil and gas. So right now it's very difficult to stave off oil and gas. And in a way, if you look at history, humanity's once relied on coal. We once relied on wood as like the cheap and reliable source of energy of the day. And with the power of wood, we were able to tap into the power of coal. And once we discovered coal, with the power of coal, we were able to essentially tap into the power of oil and gas. And now today's reliable energy source of the day is oil and gas, and we're going to use that to basically tap into the next generation energy source. So humanity will eventually move away from oil and gas, but I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime. And some of the other benefits of cheaper oil and gas are things that even I didn't think about. Like, for example, besides utilities, we have heating, electricity. We also have, we have industry. So any kind of metal making, like aluminum or steel, well, that uses an energy source called petroleum coke, which is refined from heavy crude oils. So the cost of steel would go up with more expensive energy or more expensive oil and gas. Another surprising fact was agriculture. So besides the machines like tractors that make the cost of food production lower, agriculture actually relies heavily on fertilizers and pesticides, which are petroleum products. And I was looking through some history, and it seemed like famines were a pretty common occurrence throughout human history. And only in the past, only in the recent times, they've really, the amount of deaths from famine have really died down. A lot of it is because of, common, modern irrigation techniques, but also, these petroleum products that we use to make sure that our crops live longer and can grow more. That's quite a surprise there. Other areas where oil and gas plays a big role is in construction. So it's not just the machines for construction, but also asphalt and concrete. They're made of rocks, but the things that bind them together is a petroleum product. We also have healthcare and the beauty industry. Like a lot of ointments and oils are petroleum products. Like any kind of spray, like aerosol, cooking sprays, that's a petroleum product. Right? Suntan is a petroleum product. And so much more. I mean, this is just off the top of my head, but there's so many things in life that is affected by oil and gas, and that's why I'm more convinced than ever that it's an easy choice to invest in oil and gas because, like, number one, the returns are very high. They could be very high, and number two, if what I'm doing is correct, if we're going to make more oil and gas, we're going to lower the cost of energy and the cost of living for everybody, essentially, and thus creating more economic opportunities, and that's overall better for the economy. That's it for now. Justin Lai, Oil Guy, checking out.